Good morning. I'm Dr. Peguero, the director and founder of the Center for Practical Neurotheology. Good morning. I'm Dr. Peguero, the director and founder of the Center for Practical Neurotheology. Our center, the goal is to share a professional level of scriptures-based health and wellness services with the local community. Pastoral-based health concepts hold answers for much of the chronic illnesses that we see today. This presentation is my testimony using the VedaPulse, and I want to say greetings to Anastasia and Ekaterina that contacted me. I want to make a disclaimer. The information included, but not limited to, text, graphics, images, and other material contained in this presentation are for informational purposes only. The purpose of this presentation is to promote broad consumer understanding and knowledge of various health topics. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified healthcare provider with any questions you might have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen. And never disregard professional advice or delay in seeking it because of something you have read or heard in this. So how long had I been using the VedaPulse software and hardware kit? I've been using the VedaPulse since summer 2015 for about 9 months in total. So what models do I use? I use the basic module, which includes the heart rate variability, spectrum, histogram, the indices, balance, and the music of the heart. I also use the nutritional supplements module. So what result have I achieved and how has my practice changed? Now, since using the VedaPulse, I'm able to visualize and quantify the amount of stress that the patient is experiencing. It also allows me to see the level of activity of the sympathetic nervous system. Just a short note to remind you that healing happens when the parasympathetic is leveled up with the sympathetic. As long as the sympathetic is overactive, there is a risk for inflammation and therefore chronic diseases. The VedaPulse has been the reason the patients are referring other patients. Have I ever had a complex or a special case at work with VedaPulse? Sure. I want to share this case right here. The patient is a 60-year-old Caucasian female that came to our center for a wellness checkup. The highlight of the medical history was 2 incidents of head trauma for which, after years visiting her doctor, it was never addressed. She was also having issues with her cognitive function. She complained of lack of concentration and memory loss. The only highlight from her lab work was elevated. You can see in this slide that relationship between sympathetic and parasympathetic. The sympathetic activity, the percentage of this sympathetic in this patient is about, let's see, it's about 82%. It's about 82%. And here is about 18%. So that tells you that the sympathetic is the activity of sympathetic is I'm sorry, I cannot, I don't have a chart for this patient after 30 minutes of guided meditation. Well, her stress level went down to 208. The adaptation level came down to 85%. The biological aging came to 0.7. The health level came to 35%. So there was a big difference after having the guided meditation. So that tells you that the patient is having a component, emotional component or spiritual component, which is pretty strong in after those 30 minutes of guided meditation, the parasympathetic went up to 65% and the sympathetic went down to 35%, which is this is a acceptable value. So now I don't have to send it to the ER because the patient is this is another VedaPulse I took of the patient several weeks after that, and you can see now the after she came to our office, we ran another test, and the stress level is now 364. But I want you to see that this is one of the most important thing. The adaptation level of the patient is 67%, which is not yet there, but I'm going to continue working to see can bring it a little bit down, a little bit more down for her to be healthy. But biological aging is almost normal. I can say it is normal, and the health level is improving tremendously, like at 40%. Still want her to go a little bit higher. So this patient was in moral distress, and when someone is in moral distress, we're going to see that sympathetic nervous system active pretty high. The patient was told by a religious authority that she has committed an unforgivable sin. And you can imagine when you're carrying that load around you, it's something you cannot ever get rid of this situation, which I don't believe, because I believe there is way that there's a work has been done for us to be forgiven. So let me give you here a couple facts about the VedaPulse. One of the things it allows me to diagnose and quantify stress level. The stress level is connected to the spiritual and emotional areas of a person. But also the VedaPulse allows me to diagnose medical condition. So With the help of the VedaPulse, I can diagnose spiritual and emotional conditions, and at the same time, spiritual emotion, at the same time, physical condition. This completes my testimony, and if you have comments or questions, send it to medicinapastoral.ap@gmail.com.